Hello, and welcome to Chapter 5 of the MedSkippers Project webinar series on environmental impact reduction for professional skippers in the Mediterranean nautical sector, co-funded by the European Union's Maritime and Fisheries Fund. I am Luis Lozano from Dalula Marine, a small company in Spain specialized in sustainable blue economy. In this chapter, we will list ways to minimize environmental impact from boats and their related equipment and maintenance. As in other chapters, we will avoid excessive technical details. Our objective is just for you to identify the different types of impact your activities have on the marine environment and to offer enough leads for you to learn more according to where and how you work. As you will see, much depends simply on changing behavior. We can't actually recommend any specific products or companies as regards supplies, equipment, or service providers, because their availability varies regionally, and publicity is not our goal. Our objective is for you to discover what you should look for and then to learn more on your own, according to your needs and interests and budget, talking with other professionals, local suppliers, or on the web. So now a little on boats and basic equipment. In the following slides, we will list the most important topics to bear in mind, each of which can unfold into many other secondary issues we will not deal with here. We will actually deal with this rather quickly, because this is the area for which you can find information most easily, and because it depends a lot on whether you are renting, owning, or sharing. Nowadays, there are more options than ever before, but always remember, it is you who decides what you work with, where, and how. So whenever you can, start by trying to choose the type, materials, and the age of the boat you work on. Although new technologies are much more accessible now, and although legislation will force renewal sooner than later, take into account that more sustainability comes at a cost. So if you invest in sustainability, make sure you communicate this well commercially, as there is a growing number of consumers who are actively seeking more sustainable options. As a rule of thumb, sailing boats are better. Size does matter, and fiberglass is great in many aspects, but very difficult to recycle. In any case, considering that many of us can't afford to be too picky, remember it is how you actually use your boat and equipment that will matter the most. And also that efficiency is good for nature, but good for your pocket too. As for example, saving fuel and avoiding repairs will certainly reduce your cradle-to-cradle carbon footprint, but most importantly, will allow you to reduce operational expenses on a day-by-day basis. Last, if you own your boat, remember to foresee necessary end-of-life management, that is, the cost of scrapping and final disposal, which could surprise you and are actually a really big problem for owners, marinas, and the environment, in the form of abandoned boats, unusable berths, illegal dumping, security risk, and pollution. This applies also to the periodic renewal of hazardous materials such as fire glares, drugs, and chemicals. Whether you own the boat or not, your responsibility as skipper is to ensure good maintenance and constant inspection, as the single most important thing, whatever the boat or equipment you have. Beyond the evident fact that condition and image affects commercial performance, frequent inspections help to avoid costly repairs, leaks, emissions, or extra drag and fuel expenses. For example, a clean hull can help you save up to 20% of fuel each year, so check for any signs of fouling, wear, and damage to the hull and propeller very often. Also check your all connections, motor, bilge, hull, and electric equipment frequently, because repair is always easier, cleaner, and cheaper when problems are detected earlier. And prepare the boat well for the winter season, if possible, in a dry marina on land. For good hull smoothness, you need good anti-fouling. And today there are performant, eco-friendly alternatives without biocides. So ask your local provider next time you paint the boat. Actually, take time to find a good local warehouse and online providers, as well-informed professionals will be your best source for trustworthy recommendations. At the end of the day, energy consumption will determine much of your carbon footprint, so go for clean and noiseless propulsion. Electric motors are increasingly accessible and performant, as well as batteries, and the EU is aiming to have 100% all leisure boats converted to non-fossil propulsion in the next 5 to 10 years. In the meantime, and particularly for outboards, remember that four-stroke ones are much cleaner and more efficient than older two-stroke ones, out of which around 1/3 of all fuel falls directly and unburned onto the water, consuming around 50% more fuel and producing around 75 more emissions. Whether for propulsion, electric appliances, or your client's mobile devices, onboard generation is an affordable investment that rapidly pays off. You can improve your autonomy by installing wind generators, which come from 200 to over 2000 watts, are efficient even with light breezes, and are designed for auto protection under gales. You can find do-it-yourself kits for about €150 for 400 watts, which are enough to run all the boat electronics and continuously recharge your batteries. Complementary or alternatively, you can also find affordable solar panels to match your needs, whether fixed ones for decks, flexible panels for bimini tops, or portable ones to carry around and install anywhere. For example, the ones here shown cost only around €50 and generate 10 watts, but larger ones supply 400 watts and more even in cloudy days. For your information, some top-tier sailboats are already being equipped with solar panels integrated on their sails, mast and boom, so in the near future, most standard commercial sailboats will be fully clean and silent, both under sail or power. Last, be well equipped for zero discharge, because discharge from a single boat over just one weekend contributes the same amount of bacterial pollution as treated sewage from 10,000 people. So additional to wastewater tanks, efficient treatment and recycling systems are available for recreational boats, such as the Type 1 marine sanitation devices shown here. Also, always carry racks and containers to clean and store things conveniently, adapting better to available space and foreseeable needs, including stocking all waste on board, for which you should make separation and storage as easy as possible for your clients too. For example, carry biocompostable bags for organic waste and color-coded bags for the rest. You can make these bags much more convenient and resistant if you place them inside container or sackcloth bags. For organic waste, use hermetic containers and carry cloth and paper racks to help you clean equipment and dinnerware. Last, remember that some toys, such as kayaks and paddle surfboards, can sometimes be very fun alternatives to motor dinghies. As a wrap-up, remember that most boats under 24 meters, most improvements depend on voluntary efforts. Although legislation is changing and will in the short term request intense footprint reduction for all products and services using a life cycle approach. Although considerable investments are necessary for buying better boats and engines, generators and batteries, wastewater management systems, etc., most measures are just about common sense and respect for the world around us. So keep calm, keep sailing, and remember that leisure boating has an impact on nature, and at the same time, it depends on good environmental status. So there's an added professional responsibility for you. Whether you own the boat or not, remember you choose what you work with, where, and how. So make sure to do your best to maintain things in good shape. More sustainable equipment often implies higher costs, but these pays off. And marinas are a key component, so try to actively support those that do it better. Remember that no matter what your budget and your knowledge are, there's always something you can do. And always try to learn more before taking important decisions. And that's it. Thank you for watching. As professional skippers, remember it's in your hands to keep the Mediterranean at least as beautiful as it was today. We hope you have found this short webinar worthwhile and useful to actively engage in protecting the Mediterranean as a professional skipper. Please watch the remaining chapters and don't hesitate to contact us at the email address shown on the screen. Thank you and goodbye.